This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock, joined by Dr. J. Barth of Hendrix College, Robert Coon with Impact Management Group, two guys that have been providing some analysis on our latest round of Talk Business and Politics Hendrix College polling. Let's cut straight to it. It's fun stuff here. Republican primary voters, they are supportive of Asa Hutchinson, almost 2-1. They are supportive of Arkansas Works. And we know that they love them some Donald Trump. Why do Republicans love Donald Trump as much as they do in Arkansas, Robert?
I can't explain the why. I just know that they do. I mean, his numbers are very high among Republican primary voters, particularly in the 1st and 4th congressional districts. You see, a sizable difference, I think, in those areas. Kind of lends itself to some analysis on, what they think about him, what they think about the governor's race. I think there's some correlations there, and even on some of the issues that we talked about. 2nd district, 3rd district, still highly supportive, over 80%, but some of the intensity is lower.
Is this loving Donald Trump, do you guys think, or is this, I got to kind of toe the party line on some of this as well?
Yeah, I think, and we didn't obviously delve into exactly what the drivers are, but I do think it is, Republican primary voters they're on the team. And I think that whether they love him or not, Donald Trump is the leader of the team, and I think there's a perception he's under assault from the left, and I think it's standing up for their leader. I mean, I think that's really what it is.
Does it explain why we don't see as many Republican office holders challenge the president at times when there are some policy and some personal things to challenge him about?
Yeah, totally.
I think so. I mean, sorry. I mean, I think if you know the population likes the president, I don't think you're going to be looking to get out of his, get in his way. I think some folks try to make some tempered statements on occasion to make a point, but they're not looking to draw his Twitter ire or draw criticism from the base for challenging him, for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's move to some of the topics that we dove into. Let's go first with, let's go guns, first of all. We asked, should policymakers make gun laws more regulated, less regulated, or make no changes? 44% no changes. Are either one of you surprised by those results?
Not really. I mean, I think it's pretty consistent with where the populace in Arkansas has been for years now. But as we were talking about before we came on air, the policymakers, Republican policymakers, are in a different spot. I mean, they clearly want to get as far in a gun rights direction as possible. I think that the electorate, and this is the Republican electorate, we're not even adding independents and Democrats. The Republican electorate is like, okay, I mean, how much more can you do here in terms of...
Yeah. Only a third of the Republican electorate in here, 35%, say they want less regulated gun rights.
I think it doesn't surprise me because it's a question that we like to ask a lot in things that we do, polling that we do, but it's probably a surprise to a lot of people out there, especially like Jay said, some of the elected officials, you see lots of efforts to expand gun rights to, open carry, to campus carry, to all these different, giving concealed carry holders more, abilities, of the Republican base. 44% say what we have is fine, and then the rest disagree with going one way or the other. And so I think there's kind of a misconception that, the message to Republicans is always expand gun rights, expand gun rights. And I think preserving gun rights, protecting the Second Amendment, I think that's a message that the 44% want to hear.
Yeah.
And maybe even some of the ones that want more regulated are okay with. So it's not really a contest about who can expand them the most. And in fact, if you took that to a general election, you're going to see that leave it alone number go up quite a bit, and probably that more regulated go up some. But for Republican voters, I think that's pretty significant that 44% are saying leave them alone.
Right. And I think we also see some interesting stuff in the crosstabs there. I mean, some kind of urban, suburban, rural split. And, in the 2nd district, maybe a little bit in parts of the 3rd district, I mean, there's not as much kind of enthusiasm for less regulation. And I think that could have some implications as we look at some of the races in the fall, especially the congressional races.
Yeah, it mirrors a lot of the Trump mood. It mirrors some of the governor's race mood. And I think the key to that question is really women, because women are much more close on whether or not they should go more regulated or less regulated than our men, who are by far looking for less regulated.
Let's talk about another women's issue here. We asked a very nuanced question about abortion to these Republican primary voters. Do you think abortion should be legal in all cases, legal in most cases, illegal in most cases, illegal in all cases? Illegal in most cases was the big winner at 48% in terms of that. How does this mirror what we've been seeing trend-wise in terms of abortion? How does it mirror the general population when you look at the Republican voters here?
Well, I think that when you look at national voters, it's much more of a true bell curve across the with legal in most cases and illegal in most cases being kind of the mode. Here, of course, we see illegal in most cases kind of popping. And
We're
that's
still a conservative state.
It is a very conservative state, and I think that's the big takeaway from all of these questions, is that the Arkansas Republican Party is a pretty emphatically conservative party. So that's the big difference there. You know, we again do see some divergence across subgroups of population that are interesting as well. But the big takeaway is that, you know, this is a party that is shifted to the right pretty emphatically.
How does abortion play in Republican primary politics? Every Republican I pretty much know is against or opposed to abortion. It doesn't seem to be a factor in primary races.
It's not a huge factor in primary races. I do think it plays a lot in the general election. I mean, I think if we go back to guns, where maybe policymakers think they're supposed to be doing one thing and the numbers bear something different, I think this is one area where the Republican primary voters are solidly pro-life. Illegal in most cases to illegal in all cases is by far the large majority of the voters. They are hitting that home run to the base when they're pursuing various pro-life bills. Obviously, those do occasionally have some constitutional issues, but I mean, they're speaking to their base. They're doing what the Republican, voters are looking for as it relates to abortion.
Yeah, and just a point before we move on, we do see in a lot of general election polling, Arkansas is conservative on the issue of abortion. We even see Democrats and independents at times lean into the illegal in most cases category on that. All right, we asked another question on taxes and budgetary issues. We basically asked these Republican primary voters, should we cut taxes first and then balance the budget? Should we fund state government first and then cut taxes? 53% say cut taxes first and make it work within your budget. 34% say let's fund state government first, cut taxes second. This is a debate that's going on. Robert, why did we phrase the question and frame the question this way?
I think the question kind of mirrors really the two philosophies behind managing state government. The Republican Party, by and large, has been advocating that we can cut taxes, reduce the tax burden on Arkansans, but then balance the budget as Arkansas is required to do. So this is not a Kansas environment. I don't think there's a scenario where they're going to cut it and just go, well, we hope it works. I think the governor and the legislature have been pretty diligent about making sure the budget is balanced. The alternative view is, hey, we have some essential services. There may be some new services that we want to fund. And if there's anything left, we can go ahead and cut taxes. And I think the Republican view, borne out by this survey, is there's room in the budget. We've probably got some waste. We can probably take advantage of growth. And cutting taxes should be a priority. Not just if we get to it at the end. So, I mean, I think those are really the two choices that are kind of being debated even as they're going through the tax reform process.
Yeah, although it's interesting when you start talking about specific services,
Sure.
They're pretty popular, right? I mean, we saw, although it's a budget saver, the healthcare expansion through Medicaid, through Arkansas Works is positive. We've seen in other polling that after school and summer program, pre-K program, those are all pretty popular. So you got individual programs that are pretty popular, and yet there's also tax cuts that
Sure.
are popular. And how do you balance those things? I think is really tricky. This is an area we see some interesting stuff at the in the crosstabs. Older voters much more likely to say we want our services funded first.
Well, they've been paying for them their
Yeah,
whole
that's
lives.
right.
They're ready
Yeah.
to capitalize.
And they rely
on
more on them.
Yeah. And some other subgroups that women tend to be a little less tax cut happy than men. So there are some interesting differences down below. But again, the takeaway: it's a conservative party.
Well, and the other thing I would just add to that is you talk about specific services probably poll differently. I would imagine that question would poll differently a little bit if the state and the governor hadn't been diligent about doing middle class tax cuts, doing low income tax cuts, kind of at the outset, where it's not just we're only cutting for one segment or something like that. So I mean, I think that plays into it.
All right, this is good stuff. You can catch all of their analysis, Robert Coon and Jay Barth, on our website at talkbusiness.net. We're wrapping up on, I think on Wednesdays, the last day that some of this stuff comes out. But we will be doing some Democratic primary polling too in the next week to 10 days. That'll be completely different. We'll maybe take a few of these questions and apply them in there and look for a few other things to do differently. Dr. Jay Barth, Robert Coon, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Roby.
Thank you for tuning in. That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'll see you next time.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.